So there's a really obscure secret right at the start of this one that I only found out about because I was looking at this map in Doom Builder trying to figure out how I made it look so good. Like, it's just a little extra ammo and green armor, so it's not gigantically impactful, but come on. This starting fight's kind of interesting. It sandwiches you between the Arachnotron and the little hit scanners. You can decide whether you want to blow through the chain gunners and take cover behind the columns, or sort of wedge yourself into a corner like I did, which I think is the more reliable way. One of the things I really like about this map is that it's very, there's just a lot of different ways you can go. The central courtyard area gives access in different directions to everything in the map simultaneously. And this route that I'm taking through it in this playthrough is pretty different from how I've typically played the level. I think it's actually, this might be the easiest way to do it. Although I always used to go with the hitting to the rocket launcher first, which we'll see later. But like this encounter in particular is quite a bit easier if you approach it from this direction. You don't ever get sandwiched by anything important. And you're just able to avoid a lot of situations. Telefrag on that guy to a pretty obvious secret on the ledge. Excuse me. This map has quite a few secrets, but the only one that really matters is this crazy secret room with the plasma rifle, and a pretty difficult fight depending on how you do it. I'm going to do it kind of a sissy way, but it's doable depending on how you approach it. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is another fight that I'm kind of used to coming across fairly differently, because I usually approach it from the other direction. But either way, it's not a hugely crazy one. So to get the super shotgun we saw up there, you go through this teleporter. I like this encounter. Having come from the other direction kind of makes it a little worse, just because the enemies are more towards the dead enemies, I should say, are more towards where the arch vial comes out. But I mean, either way, it's not such a much. Ordinarily, I come up from that elevator there we're looking at. It's a blind drop. I kind of think the blind drops in this map are cool, but I'm a little concerned about just dropping down there, because there's quite a few enemies right at the landing zone, so I think, okay, let's go down this way instead. Be a little more controlled about it. Plus, this gets me that thing, which I've been wishing I had for a while. Do that kind of badly. So at this point, I think I'm going to go after the plasma rifle secret. You can just skip this entirely. The plasma rifle isn't, essential by any means. And it's kind of a hard encounter, but it's really cool too. So I thought for the LP, I have to show it off. This is kind of tricky. You get some bad scratches from the end. Just really close quarters for dodging a revenant. So the setup here, it's a little hard to see, is that you've got three Hell Knights that you can't avoid getting mad at you, and then a bunch of enemies around the periphery. A lot of imps, and then revenants in the corners, all facing away from you. So the instant you shoot any weapon, they'll all start converging on you. I think the revenants are turreted as well, so they can't move regardless. But the imps can move in. So, you can just, especially if you're not doing this right at the start, which I sometimes have, and you have the super shotgun in particular, you can just start fighting immediately and thin out the enemies with most of your plasma ammo, take out the revenants very quickly. And then just the imps and the Hell Knights aren't a problem. It's really the revenants with limited maneuverability that'll get you. So I kind of wanted to wait until at least 2 revenants were dead or mad at a Hell Knight before I did anything. Just because I'm more used to doing this encounter with less resources. I could have done things different. This seems kind of boring, and I mean, it's not that boring, but I could have started this up earlier. As you'll see, once we get to this phase, it's like, oh, that was no problem. I'm already safe. I could have waited less time. But you know, better safe than sorry. I didn't realize that you can actually duck behind these pillars effectively, so no reason to waste plasma ammo there. So this is the part of the map that I always used to do very first. After the arachnotron at the beginning, I'd just drop right down here and do this segment. Since it sets you up with quite a bit of health and gets you the rocket launcher, which is handy to have. Although there's not a gigantic amount of ammo for it on this map. This is a cool encounter coming up. It's a little trickier if you don't have the SSG. And it's also a little trickier if you left the Hell Knight back there alive. I think this is really not that tricky of an encounter. Some of my perceptions of these early Sunlust levels are influenced by having played them first a long time ago when I wasn't very good at the game, and they seemed really hard to me. Anyway, I just realized there that I forgot to grab the blue key earlier, or I think I actually deliberately decided not to because I wanted more of a full kit, because it's kind of a nasty ambush, as you can expect from the setup. It traps you in there, and the only way to get out is with that shot switch. The one nice thing I'll say about it, or the one nice thing he did there, I should say, is that at least he put the switch behind the most high-value target, you know, that you would be shooting at anyway, if you're making good decisions. It's not that bad of an encounter, but when it takes you by surprise, like, it can make you super dead super fast. I like these blind drops. I think that's cool. Using rockets to try to quick kill that pain elemental if I can. There's really nothing to this fight without it. This is the only encounter in the map that I would describe as kind of half-baked. I mean, it's just a mob of imps that it starts out on one edge, but it quickly just ends up being in the corner, and the almighty circle strafe will take care of it, no problem. First time I played this map, I was really intimidated by this. But now I realize that there's no reason to be. That guy blocked the exit switch, but actually, you don't even have to fight that out if you're feeling intimidated by that fight for whatever reason. You can just use that teleporter to, you know, rush it and escape instantly. And now we're very nearly done here. This is sort of a tricky bit where you really want high DPS weaponry, since you've got a Mancubi on both sides of you, and that's never a nice situation. Especially with all the hurt floor in the middle there, making your maneuverability sort of awkward. And this is where this is really the only place where it's like, oh, I'm glad I bothered to do the plasma rifle fight. This is helping me. That's actually a lot harder with just the SSG and whatever few rockets you have left. Anyway, that's the map. It's over here. There's just this exit here. Check this out. There's a why would there be? This is literally the last room. You can't get here till the very end. Why is there a berserk pack? It doesn't make any sense. But it's cool. I really like this map. I think it's just the best.